Well, let's turn back the clock a little bit and get a reminder about why the uprising started in Libya in the first place. 42 years almost of Colonel Gaddafi's rule there, never tested at the ballot box. What was it like? Well, with us in the studio is Mohamed Labi Zitout, a former Algerian deputy ambassador in Libya from 1991 to 1995. Now, Mr. Zitout, what was it like to live in Libya then? Could you have free conversations with Libyans about what they thought of their government, the rule of law, their rights?
It's terrible to live there, really, honestly. On the beginning of the 90s, I remember when receiving some Libyan guests in my office or even at home, they look twice and they start just turning their head to mention or a few words, because they were very scared to that the walls have got ears.
They were always looking around.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely terrible for Libyan, and I was shocked when I was first there that how scared and how the station of fear and the feeling of fear among the population, everyone fearing another. Even within families, I've been told that people don't speak honestly and openly because they fear that probably one of the members could work as an informer for the regime.
Now, in Libya, though, the walls really did have ears, didn't they? Because the Libyan government, the security services, bought some of the most sophisticated surveillance equipment on the market.
Thanks to the West on this. Many Western companies helped the regime to build up, not only, in fact, on the surveillance, but also weaponry. And where I was there when Ben Walid uprising, this is a town near Tripoli in '93, and I've seen how it was crushed. Just as we have seen Zawiya or Misrata now, or other towns, how they have been crushed now. That was in '93.
So does that mean that you find that the eyewitness testimony that we're getting credible, because we're not able to be on the ground in Zawiya or Misrata to independently verify in the hotspots where the fighting has taken place? Once the government's got it under control, then journalists are allowed in.
Definitely after doing all the removing the bodies, and because we witnessed '93. Personally, I witnessed '93.
What did you see personally?
Terrible things. Bodies, and they have been crushed by planes and by helicopters, and just because few people decided that probably they can remove or they can have coup d'etat at that time against Gaddafi, and the whole tribe of Warfallah, which is one of the strongest tribe in Libya, were put aside, and hundreds of their members even killed or jailed on '93, '94, '95. And let's not forget that on '96 they massacred 1,262 or 63 prisoners in Buslim prison just in Tripoli. It's a very nasty, very rude, very brutal regime, and but unfortunately we have seen the last few years many Western leaders going there and having Gaddafi as a friend.
There are people, though, who have done very well out of having Colonel Gaddafi in power. Libyans, though, who really support him and don't want to see him go.
I think you will find always about 4 or 5% of the population who will support a regime. That's the case in Algeria and Libya.
Would give.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having lived there before the uprising.
Absolutely, and that's you will find this in Egypt, in Algeria, in Libya.
But let's stick to Libya. Even in Tripoli, even in the West, you think that's the level of support?
Not more than that. Not more than 5%. Those who benefited for the last 40 years from the regime, illegitimately and illegally, from the wealth of Libya. Libya is a very, very rich country. Don't forget that.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Do stay with us, Mohamed Zitout. Although there are many of our listeners, including people we've been speaking to from Sirte and Tripoli, who would very much disagree with you and say that there's a lot of loyal support for Colonel Gaddafi inside the country. Well, still with us in the studio is Mohamed Labi Zitout, former Algerian deputy ambassador to Libya during the 1990s. And what do you think of the reaction in the region, not just Turkey's reaction, but other Arab countries to the crisis in Libya?
It looks like that all Arab regimes are on the list of the Arab Revolution, and those who are on the list think that they have to support Gaddafi because it's just vital for them. It's a question of life or death, And the Algerian regime has tried to do everything in the first, particularly the first 10 days, to help Gaddafi. And diplomatically, they tried to convince their Western counterpart that Saif al-Islam, the son of Gaddafi, may be the solution. But we turn now clearly that Saif al-Islam is as bloody as his father.
Saif al-Islam made some of those notorious speeches promising no mercy if his forces were to get into Benghazi. Should say then, Mr. Zitout, that you are a long-term critic of the Algerian government, so that may colour your perspective.
And just very quickly, Mohammed Zitout, this meeting taking place later today, they're still fighting on the ground. We don't know what the outcome will be. Is it too soon to be discussing the future of Libya?
No, I don't think it's too soon, but I think it's up to the Libyan to decide their future. It's not up to other powers. We are very reluctant as Arab people to accept the Western intervention, but we think that is a necessary devil, and Libyan people have no choice. But it's up to the Libyan to decide their future. I think if the West want to do something, it's just to help Libyan to resolve the issue and the question, and peacefully for democracy.
Mohammed Lybia Zitout, former Algerian deputy ambassador to Libya. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. And for those of you who want to follow the rest of the story as it unfolds, visit our BBC website, detailed maps which change as the situation changes. Thanks for being with us. From Pascal and myself, Komla Dubon. Thanks for listening.
BBC